Well, welcome everybody. It's fish time, 6 o'clock. I want to welcome everybody to July 19th, 2022 meeting. This time I'd like to call this meeting to order.
Second.
Approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda, Chairman.
We got a second.
Second.
Second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Mr. Mayor, would you do the honors and open our county meeting tonight?
Yes, sir.
Let's pray. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we come tonight thanking you for another great day. We want you to be with us tonight, as your presence be known. Be with us, the commissioners, tonight, as they make the decisions to make the county a better place for people to live. Just bless everyone here in attendance that are involved in our community. And then, like I said again, just thank you very much for a blessed day. We ask in thy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
All right, we move on to our consent agenda and approval for the minutes. So we had the first Tuesday, July 5th, 2022. Y'all had opportunity to review. If there's no changes, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve, Chairman.
Second.
Second, any discussion? None, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it, okay. New business. Ms. Jennifer, you've got, and Donald both, animal shelter HVAC upgrade.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So, I'm not exactly sure how to word this. We're having, in one of our AC units, an issue with humidity in in the cat room particularly. Humidity's really high. I'm not smart enough to understand what's going on, so I brought back up.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've actually, ever since the animal shelter was open, we never really got that room cool. It's always been a humidity issue because they use so much water inside the building. And Jimmy's more the expert on the humidity thing, so I'm gonna let him kind of explain what we're looking at.
Well, first I want to say that I'm here as a member of the county, not as somebody trying to sell something, because I want to explain what we did. You try the simplest, easiest thing first. When they first approached me with this problem, they said, we've been having it a lot. And I said, well, so I went and the first thing I did is lower the blower speed on the unit, because what that does is remove more latent heat, which is humidity from the air. Well, it might have helped a little, but it did not cure the problem. But then they have makeup air that they have to pull outside air inside, fresh air. The reason, and I've had experience with other shelters, we did the heat and air, and that the codes are different with those than they are residential houses, especially in the feline area, because you have to pull in a lot of fresh air, because if you don't, the ammonia that evaporates from the litter will build up, and it's caustic in the air. It can cause problems with, let alone the cats, the people in there, and it can corrode the metal in the evaporator coils and just play havoc with the heating and air system. So what we did is, but I adjusted the incoming air as much as we could. Actually created a little bit of a positive pressure, and you know, a lot. And if this would have been a house situation or something, you say, well, let's increase the other sections aren't as bad, so let's bring some ventilation in there. Well, the problem there is cross contamination. If a parvo outbreak or feline HIV, I mean, there's all kind of diseases that the Department of Agriculture, isn't that the ones that?
Yeah, and
Right, yeah.
currently, one of the issues we're having is upper respiratory being passed around from the cats. And for probably 6 to 8 months, we're just battling it, fighting it, medicating, and not really understanding why any of them's getting any better. I've learned a little bit that the ionization unit that was put in the system actually itself isn't working because of this
It's,
secondary issue. So nothing's being,
well, the thing is you can't, you can't ventilate from other areas of the, so what they do is they draw makeup air from the outside. And a lot of times the system can overcome and humidify even though you bring in air from outside. But as much as I love Jones County and Middle Georgia, lived here all my life, we are blessed with an ample supply of humidity. So it's never just right to open the windows except 1 week of the year, and that's when the pollen's falling. So increasing the makeup air just increases the amount of humidity, and it's building up, but it can't get out because we can't draw enough ventilation. And so it has unique problems. But what we did is we did 3 things we tried before this, and this is the last bullet left, is a dedicated dehumidification system. This thing here is made, or the side effect from a heating and air system is that it can pull moisture out of the air. But when you lower the temperature, you also raise the relative humidity. So and then with the makeup air coming from outside, it's just a perfect storm. And it was over 81% humidity in there.
walking out one room is like a blanket.
Yeah, mites, under 55%, like dust mites and all kind of bacteria will go dormant. It won't die, it'll just go dormant. But over that, it comes out of hibernation and it starts being active, and that's why the kennel cough probably is doing what it's doing, because they're sitting there in 81% humidity. The ionization, what it does, it positively and negatively charges the particles in the air so that it can attack viruses, molds, mildews, things like that. The problem with that is that it's a little electrical charge in the air. Well, when the humidity gets high, the electrical charge goes away because water's conductive. So even though it's working, it's never even making it into the room. So this humidity problem is causing all kind of other problems. And like I say, the only way to do it for sure, beyond the shadow of a doubt, is with a dedicated dehumidification system. We only sell, it's very seldom you can't attack the problem with a simpler thing and try and make the problem better. We've tried all that. This is it. That's all that's left. They're not cheap, but it's the only way to make that system, I mean, to get the humidity out. And so
Is it a standalone, or can you hook it into the?
it actually piggybacks on the heating and air system. And what it does is it's a completely standalone unit, but it's ducted into it, and it actually has some wires where it can actually take control of the heating and air system.
So it reheats
Fall-
when it needs to, and
Yeah, it fall, winter, summer. It's got a compressor, a evaporator coil. It's like a little another whole heating and air system. But what it does is it'll bring the central blower system on winter, summer, spring, fall. If you got your air conditioner set on off and you're not even using any heating and air, this thing can bring it on, the blower on, to dehumidify the air, and it samples the air every 30 minutes. It's really the only thing, whether it's in heat and fall and spring. The problem with those, even on a warm day, if the humidity's high, you don't get enough runtime from your air conditioner to affect any of the dehumidification. But this would fill in and get those problems down. And I would bet you that's going to cause also, even though there's no cross ventilation, well, it's held to a minimum, but it's going to help those other areas around it that aren't near as bad as this. But I don't think those are going to need something this drastic.
Ironically, it's the smallest
On the
room
denim thing, I didn't want to share his
of all
quote.
the areas.
how many
that
square
you
feet is
don't
it?
Gosh,
Huh?
I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I didn't take the square footage. It's not big.
I would say it's about
12 by 16 maybe?
A couple hundred
this right
feet.
here.
200,
I remember like 12
200,
by
300
16
square feet.
area. Maybe, if that.
But the dehumidification system, there's 3 sizes. All right, in a residential setting, probably the 60 pint would work. I seriously doubt. Well, the price in the 60, the 90, and the 130, which is the biggest one, there's no such thing as oversizing. It just is more capacity to do what it needs to do, and it's only going to run when it needs to. So the price difference was not. I mean, obviously it was more expensive, but what I don't want, if I'm standing up here, we're putting our name on it and saying, "Hey, this will fix the problem," then I don't want to underdo it. So, I'm sure this, like I say, this will fix that problem.
Yeah. Well, I think it's up to the board, but have Donald reach out. Obviously, it's not, it's under the bid threshold, but we're not, we're not sharing any numbers, but if that's what the board's wishes are, have Donald and Jason look into it and get us some quotes and then decide what direction we want to go, if that's what the board wants to do. I see what they're going with the kennel, is it kennel cough with the cats too?
Respiratory.
It's the same thing, cats get the kennel cough just like or just respiratory.
It's all in the same
Well-
category.
Yeah, so the problem is 80% humidity. That's
Yeah.
gonna make any microbes grow.
Yeah.
You got a petri dish, that's what you got.
That's exactly what we
With
got.
animals in it.
And we got, there's a machine up there that's dedicated there to do it, but it's being neutralized by the
Right.
humidity.
Right. Yeah, because they're not set for more than 55, 60%
Oh, gosh.
humidity.
Yeah.
80% humidity, even those little standalones are not going to bring out that kind of. I mean, that's definitely the route to go if it's 80%. I just didn't know if it was.
And we tried, like I say, we did try everything, because as much as I know it sounds like I'm the worst salesman in the world, but I tried it. We got up there and we tried everything first, all the simple, easy things. And because, like I said, this money is part mine too. So I have a dog in this hunt. Pardon the pun, but we have a dog in this hunt because we live here. But we tried to do it any other way we can. But I think that's all that's left.
Is this threshold just 2 quotes? Is that where we are on that?
It'd be 3.
Three.
And I think the primary reason we wanted to bring it to the board tonight was just the money part of it. Obviously it's not something that Jennifer had money for in her budget. She and I talked a little bit. She's got some donation funds available, but my suggestion was to come to the board and ask for contingency funds to make this purchase and save those donation funds for something something else. Yeah.
Motion to approve, Chairman, based on going through our procurement policy.
Second.
Second, any more discussion? None, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank y'all. Ms. Jeffrey, don't leave yet.
I'm waiting on it.
I think there was a challenge made last meeting. What's the challenge?
You got a check.
What was the challenge?
I think he said he'd triple.
Well, no, I think it was just match.
Who would match?
So
I need to go
here's my check, and go get his check.
Let me go get my check. Chairman trying to hurt my feelings. Oh, that's nothing. Chairman, I thought you was gonna really make. I'll go get my check, but I guarantee I'll match that. All right, well, let me,
Where's your checkbook?
in my truck. Who wants to go get it? Yeah, we will definitely
Would you like
get,
a picture
Well-
of him, Andrew?
we'll get you a picture before you go digging.
All right, that's the first part of it.
You need a
Yeah.
picture of him with his pants popping.
I want a bigger check.
Boy,
so I'm
Sam,
gonna-
you just keep losing all this year.
I'm always.
Dang,
I'm
I
always
got the
winning.
trophy. Chairman's got
Where
the.
is it? I've seen
It's
your
out
trophy.
there in the hall.
Has it?
Yeah, with District 3 all over it.
I think I got rid of District 3 off of it.
All right. Water tap fees and new connections. Mr. Brandon? Are you
I
gonna
think
lead
we've
us
got.
on?
I can kind of introduce the issue, Mr. Chairman, and
Okay.
then hand it over to Brandon
Okay,
and
that's
Tim, if that's okay. So, as you're all aware, we're embarking on kind of a big water expansion project that'll involve a variety of new areas around the county. in the past, the previous boards have given a somewhat of a reduced tap rate just to incentivize people to sign on. And so we wanted to come to you tonight to talk more about that, what our current costs are, and you know, what we had in mind in terms of a reduced fee.
Good afternoon. Currently, we charge $1,500 for a tap fee. That's long side, short side, bores, all that. Again, in the past, we've always reduced because it's a lot easier to tie on while it's all uncovered. Gets incentive to go ahead and get on board with everything. So our question to you is, how low do y'all want to go? Do y'all want to give an incentive to anyone to go ahead and tie on? But keep in mind, our average cost to do a tap is $18.70. So it's actually below what we charge for a tap currently. So do y'all
Is it
want
cheaper
to?
during construction, or?
It will be cheaper because you don't have to. It's not near as much manpower or equipment to dig up the water main, do the taps because they're already exposed. Before you bury them back, you go ahead and tap it, run everything. So you will save a lot of man hours, equipment, whatnot. Materials will be the same, but everything else will be cheaper.
I just curious, any idea what the savings would be during construction versus?
I would say around $300, $300 to $500 would be about the savings. With the best that we could get, materials, just materials are around $1,100. So we would try to keep it $1,250 is what would be our recommendations after all of us meeting and sitting down and coming up with some numbers. But again, final decisions up to y'all. Currently,
What's the tap-on fee right now?
$1,500. So we can reduce it down to $1,250. We still at least make even with materials.
If we offered another incentive as far as, you know, some people don't have the $1,200 to come up with, if there was an option to maybe include a payment option, would be?
With their bill,
with
break
the-
it up over 6 months or something.
And so I've seen that in the past, Chairman, and I would agree with that. And I think we used to do it in the past, have an incentive, because I think we probably need to put parameters on it, like end of construction is
That's
end
what I
of
was
your
about to say.
incentive
Right,
program.
yeah.
But I'll be honest, I'd rather have the customer every day, because that's a continuous flow.
Continuous sale.
And if it convinces 2 or 3 people to come to county water, that was part of our plan from the beginning. 1/3 of it is new customers, so.
Right. So we basically will have a sales pitch going during construction.
Yeah, I'm planning on, depending on y'all's answer tonight, me and Jason have gotten together and we're starting to form a letter to send out to all the residents just in phase 1 St. Creek Trail.
Right.
So I can continue to send this out, and once they get that letter, they want to go ahead and even if they can't afford the tap fee, you know, if they can start now, the time that they get the letter, say next week, until the end of construction's completed in several months, you know, I feel like that would
They would be able to pay
they would
for
be
it
able
by
to pay
month.
a little
Yeah.
bit by little bit.
But I mean, basically, it's the options, once they've covered in the front of their house, it's over there, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, they need to know
But you
up
can
front,
also,
go ahead and
and
sign
just
on.
as a thought, if you wait after construction, we've already talked about the fees being higher than what we're doing it. Give them, show them the price now and the price
Absolutely.
later.
Yes, sir. We already have, Jason's already got that letter typed up, a
Yeah.
format for that.
On your desk in front of you, I just drafted up kind of a sample thing that we might consider sending out, and it does have some language in there saying, look, we're going through a rate study right now. That $1,500 price is probably going to go up, you know, and because it's not covering our costs right now. So we also thought about maybe sending that something out to I think the Creekside area and the Upper River Road area with the last 2, you know, big construction areas. Sending a letter out to those folks saying, hey, the tap rate's $1,500 right now. It's going to be going up, most likely. And you may want to consider tying on now at the $1,500 rate before that goes up, so.
My thoughts, I mean, we got budget coming up, go ahead and adopt it at a time, but not wait till the first year, but wait till the time of budget. As of this date, this,
Mhm.
you know, we're charging $1,500, it's costing us $1,800.
You're not covering it.
And that's the average.
That's average, so
Sometimes
it
you
could
lose.
easily be
That's-
2,000 if you're going across the road, you know,
Yep.
so.
Yep.
People like saving money, and even if the event, they know they can go ahead and sign up for water service and it be added to their bill. A lot of folks, you know, hard times right now with a lot of people. They got a payment added to their water bill. Again, that's a new customer.
Mhm.
What's the board want to do?
So what would your recommendation be?
My recommendation would be give a discount rate to $12.50, so at least we're covered at just materials.
Chairman, I make a motion, we reduce the tap fees to $12.50 during construction period for any new customers with a campaign program on other incentives to include payment options for startup.
Second.
Second? Any more discussion? None, all in favor, aye?
T,
Tim, real quick.
You talking about, we've been talking about new taps just in the construction areas, but we're not talking about countywide.
Mhm.
If a developer walks in and pays for a subdivision, he can pay with that.
Yeah, because we don't have any reduction of cost, because we'd have to go dig that one up, so only in the
That's right.
construction
It's
areas.
only for new construction.
That's right.
All right,
I'm good.
is that it?
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Mr. Resner, you got number 3, a tentative millage rate?
Yes, sir. Each year around this time, we have to start a series of advertisements in the newspaper related to the budget and to the adoption of the millage rate. You don't actually adopt that millage rate until after hearings and that type of thing, but we do have to run some advertisements sort of at the beginning of the process. So I always have to come to you and say, you know, what rate does the board want to advertise? Just in terms of looking at the just very preliminary budget numbers, kind of where we're going to end this year, I don't foresee any situation where we would have to come to you and recommend any type of millage rate increase. The rates you advertise is sort of the ceiling. You can come down from it, but you can't go up from it without starting the process over. So my recommendation to you would be to advertise the current millage rate, the rates that were used last year, and again, you'll have the option to come down from that if we get into the budget process and you see that there's the ability there to reduce that, you have that option before you. So that would be my recommendation would be to go with the 2021 millage rates for the purposes of advertising.
Any question from Ms. Resner?
Motion to keep the millage rate exactly the same as last year.
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? None, all in favor, aye? Aye. Thank you. Let's have it. Mr. Risner, we got Ruby Drive speed breakers.
And I think Mr. Reed's here with us. I know they were working to obtain some more signatures there, and Public Works has been in contact with them. I don't know that we're ready for any action tonight, but Mr. Reed, did you bring the petition with you? And we can get that from you tonight. And
We have a total of 47 residents from Ruby Drive.
okay,
How many total houses are there?
I'd have to count. Do you know how many total there are on the road?
I can give you an approximation.
Okay, and we can check that too.
You can add 248 and 140 on there too.
Okay,
I'll give you,
you know the owner.
You know the
He's
owner?
kind of close with the owner.
You know the owner?
I got it.
Do you want me to make a copy of this so you can keep the original? Okay, I'll go do that in just a minute if that's okay.
I need to make an addendum also. After
I heard him speaking of the speed limit signs. There's only one,
Okay.
and it's down by Janice Drive on that end. There aren't any from that point all the way up to Joy Cliff Road, so we also need those speed limit signs.
So it's there between Woodall and Ruby. I mean, Woodall and Bethune is the only
Yeah,
stop sign
yeah.
there is.
Well, speed limit sign. And I'm sure you got the one about putting a street sign up also.
Yes.
The street sign is up.
It's up.
Children that play sign, if they put the other one on the other end, on their end.
I don't know if, I talked to him about that. I don't know if it's been done yet or not.
I haven't seen it.
Hadn't seen it, okay, okay.
Thank you.
You need to abstain from
Is there
Yep.
is that a date that we can expect these actions to take place, or?
Yes, sir, we'll just go through and verify the signatures, and we should be able to get it done by the end of this week, in terms of verifying everything, and then we can get them ordered and that.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, before I ask for a motion, I have to abstain because of the two properties I own on here, so. Is there a motion on the floor to continue on with the speed breakers?
Motion to continue on with the speed breakers.
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? None, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Commissioner Martin? Aye?
Yeah.
Ayes have it. Got
Look
it.
up.
All right, thank y'all. Y'all need anything else, don't hesitate to call us. All right, courthouse renovations. Commissioner Kitchen?
Thank you, Chairman. We've had, I think the report is in our notebook on the assessment we had done on the courthouse and specifically about the roofs. I think over the last couple of meetings, we talked about the needs assessment, future plans, and our schedule and workflow for what to do at the courthouse. And we identified some of the most pressing needs were building envelope, roof, and maybe mechanical systems to basically stop the bleed. So based on our assessment, we saw where we had some okay roofs, some pretty bad roofs, and some really bad roof areas on the courthouse. We knew that we had water leaking inside the building in a couple of areas that we thought we would address first. After some torrential rains last week, I understand we literally had rain coming into the building, and we had some more assessment being done as far as the rafters, the underside of the building. And I'm just concerned that if we don't do something now, we're gonna have some structural damage that we didn't anticipate, and our money to repair that roof's not gonna go where we thought it was gonna go. I don't know what our options are as far as moving this forward under emergency condition, Council.
You know, I'm never happy about that as an option.
I understand that, and I just don't know at what point. I mean, we're looking at probably 2 to 3 months if we put it out for bid, get the contracts evaluated, award it, and then have to order the material. With the supply chain issues we got right now, I know with, and I'm glad Judge and our probate are here. They might be able to speak to what kind of damage we're having, how much water we got coming in.
As far as an emergency, construction that's resulted from an emergency or natural disaster that can't wait 4 weeks to be advertised, the sort of legal parameters is it has to be shown that there's imminent danger to public health or safety or an imminent threat for the loss of essential government services. That must be described, the nature of the emergency, in the minutes, and we must certainly ratify a contract as soon as possible. If there are problems, and my concern is that there's only that one red area and everything else doesn't appear to be an emergency legally. It's just, you know, the law's so strict on bypassing any bid process. If the problems are caused from mere inconveniences, could arise or cause mere inconveniences to government operations, that in the law has not been found to be an emergency, it is that sort of threshold of imminent threat to the safety. So I would just sort of tell you that, and we can find out what the problems are. I know it's a significant need, but we still have to be careful that it rises to the level of an emergency to bypass a bid, especially on a project this size.
Well, I will say what made me think about bringing it up now is, in the past, we had been getting water leaking into the windows. That there was some water on the inside the windows. And from what I understand, we literally have water coming into the offices, onto the desk. That now we're talking about the potential for electrical hazards and shutting down an office where, there may be an opportunity to move an office somewhere else doing it, but I think that would be for judge and the courts to kind of see if that's a possibility. I just know we were getting a lot more water in than we did when we met last time to talk about it. And
I mean, for you all, if you all decide it's an emergency, an imminent threat to bypass the bid process, then you certainly would need details on the minutes that would support the emergency. I know that you all are real excited about
Well, we just know over the last
About
few
giving
years, the biggest
details.
problem has been rain.
See, I told
There
you the
we
next
go.
time
We're
I
going-
saw you would be asking for money.
I'll be begging for money.
That's
I told you that.
right.
That's right. Well, the biggest problem has been over the last 3 years when it rains like it's done the last week or 2 or 3 weeks. Water seeps in, it puddles on the floor, comes through the windows, puddles on desk. I think one of your employees had water on their desk this past week, right, or last week?
Couple weeks ago, yeah.
Tell us about that.
A whole new situation
Yeah.
in another office, and it blew in through the window onto the desk, and all the calendars and books and paperwork was all wrinkled and
Yeah, I don't see how there can't be mold back there with water sitting there that long. And that new desk is still under C2 also, still the same area, just across the hallway. So I think it's getting to the point where it may be just a little bit more than inconvenience. It's definitely, I think, could be a potential health hazard for our employees there. We see things falling out of the ceiling sometimes, black areas along the windows. And I believe at our last meeting about the courthouse, they told us that we had to replace the windows. They couldn't be repaired. Is that right?
correct, yes.
Remember that?
I think so.
Yeah, yeah.
That was part of this presentation.
Right, right. I understand your concerns about what the law says, what emergency has to constitute. We're just here, we just need some help, please. Yes.
And I know they need help. I know that there's a problem up there. I just need for you all, because it is such a big step to constitute an emergency and bypass bid, to make sure it's very clear that
is there any?
that is an emergency.
Yeah. I don't know if there's, what other options do we have, Jason? Do you know of anything else that we can do to expedite? So state law still says 30 days out for bid, doesn't it?
4 weeks.
4
yeah.
weeks, yeah.
I think we don't have that in our ordinance, but this probably falls under Public Works Construction Law.
Over
Yes,
250,000.
36-91-22.
Because it's over 250. I'm sure it'll be over 250,000.
For the repairs of the windows? And
The roof.
The roof. $250,000?
The threshold under that code section is actually 100,000.
100,000. Right. I'm thinking Public Works.
Yeah. So it definitely would be over 100,000.
Well, we're just glad that you guys are taking it under consideration to do something about it, because like we said earlier, it's only going to get worse. It's not going to get any better at all.
What is the very first step? Just writing up the bid?
Yes, I think we would.
Because what they need is movement.
Right. Yeah, we can, so when we did the jail project 4 years ago, whenever that was, we used a construction manager approach on that one. So I have something there that I think we could, modify to fit this project. So that helps a little bit.
You can go ahead, and we can go ahead and employ the services of a construction manager when that party is not directly responsible for the construction, like engineer, architect, construction manager, things like that. They would serve in an advisory capacity and not actually be responsible for the construction. That's an exemption under this code section. So if that's something that we need, that's certainly, and that is sort of the first step, something that you all could go ahead and immediately do, is get a construction manager working on it. The downside to that is that they can't be responsible for contracting out the job, or then they're not in an advisory position. It puts the county in a position for acting as the general contractor.
Yeah, and that's gonna be the timeline problem, because I think the construction manager, without having the ability to sub the subcontracts out and oversee the project, then we, as in the county, is responsible for doing all the subs.
It
the
turns
electrical,
us
the
into the
carpentry.
general contractor.
Yeah, we're a general contractor, we're overseeing it, and we're construction administration, so that's gonna be really tough. So if we feel like it's not justified for emergency, just, I guess we can just rush the process as far as putting it out for bids and be ready to evaluate as soon as the bids come in for a CM, because you're still gonna have to get a CM on board, get specs, get it out to the subs, get the pricing back, hire the subs, order the material. So we're still looking at 2.5 months minimum.
And some contracts that are also not subject to that state law and the requirements would be routine maintenance, which I guess some of that could be argued to be routine maintenance, some of
Where's
it would
Donald?
be
We're way
argued.
past routine, right?
Yeah.
It should have been routine.
Yeah, it should have been routine. I mean, I don't know that we could argue that that entire job is routine maintenance, but yeah, the windows literally caving in should have been maintained.
Go there and touch it and you get a hole in the
Yeah.
side of the window on the frame.
On that note, it's actually leaking through the roof inside the wall. It's not.
So there's gonna be more damage than just a roof, and some windows when they get in there.
So now,
So the longer we wait, the worse it's gonna get.
it's not gonna
But
be
y'all
just,
also,
no.
I've also known about that for a while. It's not an emergency like a month ago it did not exist and a
Right.
tree fell through the roof and all of a sudden it's an emergency.
Right.
I mean, we've known about this problem, it just, it's
Yeah.
gotten worse.
The problem just,
Escalated.
got all of a sudden got worse, a lot worse.
It needs to become a priority to get this before it gets any worse. It's going to get worse before it gets better. That's unfortunate, but.
Is
we
there
need-
any way for them to tarp the bad side to try to provide some protection until we can go through the process?
That's the street
more
view
Band-Aids
of
you can
the
put on it?
courthouse, isn't it?
Well,
Maybe that whole window.
That
area, I
whole
think,
street
would have
front
to be
of the
tarped.
courthouse.
Yeah, you got parapet walls in there, so it's you'd have to build some
We got
type
our
of,
consultant
to
here.
shed the
That's
water
why-
off. I mean, it's-
That's
What
one.
if we did just the C2
as an emergency,
as an emergency, and then,
bid out the rest.
Mr. Selby, could you come forward and give us your
Might give us some.
professional, I know what my professional, my idea was, let's see y'all. I'm not allowed any profession here. I'm not allowed profession, I can just keep my mouth shut and let the professional have it.
Okay. How you doing?
What's your thoughts about the C2 area? Is it
Well, let me just make a couple of comments. Just remember, there's one shade difference between red and yellow. Okay? So when we started this analysis, the objective was to study the building envelope, and we did it from the top down. We did it from the roof, the windows, the walls, the doors, and so forth. But we did discover some items that we didn't know about, and no one knew about until we did the analysis. When you say a window's leaking in this building, for example, some are leaking, but some are leaking because the water is entering at the roof line, parapet walls, and other places, and the first place that it finds to come out is an opening, which happens to be a window. So the concern that we have, and I think this has got it to this point, is concealed damage, which is structural issues. So as you continue to experience the water infiltration, and they're mostly in areas that we call walls above roofs. Water comes in, again, it's deteriorating the structural integrity of the building. And you know, this building is on the National Register of Historic Places, so it's something that needs to be addressed fairly quickly. The longer it sits there and the water infiltrates, I can't tell you in 3 months, Commissioner, 2.5 to 3 months is probably pretty aggressive as far as going through the process, and then, like you said, procuring, selecting in the normal process is what I'm saying. So my fear for you is it's got cancer, and I don't know how widespread the cancer is until you open up some of the walls to determine what it looks like. But it does need to be addressed pretty quickly, because I can't tell you that red part and even some of those yellows may have structural failure at any time. Now, I'm certainly not going to stand here and tell you that it's unsafe to be in there, but I'm also not going to tell you it's safe to be in there, because I can't see inside the walls. There needs to be some further study done on those areas. So again, when we had the meeting, the discussion was, where do you stop the bleeding first? Do you go to the roof? Do you address the windows? Because you're getting infiltration of water from all different directions. So which hole do you put your finger in first? Do you? So that's where we kind of tried to prioritize. So there are a lot of issues that need to be addressed. And again, we did discover some of those as a part of the study that we did that was not known at that time. When somebody says to you, my window's leaking, okay, they just know water's coming in at the window. They just don't know that it's entering at a roof line, coming through the wall. It happens to be coming out at the window. So you got a combination of things that are happening.
The C2, that's Superior Court, Magistrate Court offices, right?
Right.
It's, I thought it was, but looking down on it, you just got to make sure you know that had bearings correct. I mean, I'm not encouraging or discouraging either direction. I just want to make sure we do it the right way for the minutes. You could perhaps argue, and I think justify and support, that it is an imminent threat to the loss of essential government services. I mean, Pam's office has to be able to provide services to the public.
Do we have any court documents in that area, stored documents in that area?
We have magistrate documents. There are personnel documents.
No, court documents got some kind of tagline. We have to.
But if that ceiling is in such disrepair that they're seeing portions cave in, I mean, if that caves in, you're wiping out Superior Court and Magistrate Court, and where are you going to put them? I mean, things would come to a stop.
Well, the other issue that again, keep in mind that our original analysis was a building envelope. But as we met in the courtroom, we're inside the building, and we began to recognize some issues related to the heat and air. Part of the issues related to the heat and air is that the area labeled C1 and some other areas were improperly installed. That used to be a metal roof, because I grew up here and I know the building well. We actually did the addition over here at A1 and A2 back when I was in high school a long time ago. But anyway, the shingles have been put over a metal roof, so what's happened is there's no ventilation in the attic. So with no ventilation in the attic, it's like an oven several times over, which is hurting the ventilation system and the air quality inside the building on the second floor. I mean, the day I was in there, obviously in a courtroom, we do a lot of courthouses and correctional facilities. You obviously, just like this room, you're going to have what we call loads that go in the building, people and so forth. Well, there was only about 8 or 10 of us in the room that day, and it was uncomfortable. So you can imagine when you have 30 or 40 people in a courtroom. So there's some air quality issues that I think would be helped by some of the building envelope corrections, like the ventilation of the attic and those type things. So one item's complicating some others.
And Chairman, I'll just say, for me, the reason I wanted to ask Jason to put it on the agenda as an emergency discussion was, we've known this, you're right, for a year or two. We've been having meetings, we've been talking about it. And we were having, in heavy rains, we were having water seep in through the windows, and it would be on the floor, and you could put a towel on it. Last week, when we had those 3 days of huge rains, and we got water inside the room, on people's desks, on floors, on paperwork, that is much different than over by the wall at the window. I don't know if that damage occurred in a 3-week period, or if it was because of those torrential rains, or if next week we're going to have a ceiling fall in. And that just worried me, knowing that the structural damage is a slow process of infiltration into the building, but when you start seeing significant changes in the amount of water and the places that you're getting water, something has changed in that deck, roof deck, and the leaking that we got up there. So that was what I personally felt like was an emergency situation that could be detrimental to safety of employees, electrical problems, structural damage to the building, you know.
Continuous service.
Right, but it is an issue because we knew it was a problem, and all of a sudden, while we're addressing a problem, it becomes a real emergency. How do you go from we knew about it to emergency, which is what our attorney is forewarning us that we need to make sure that we are
Your
justified
motion's
in-
done properly.
Yes. So,
I think Coach said it, he said your motion's done properly.
You know, buildings can be replaced, but people cannot, so we need to think about the life safety of it. If a roof collapses, you got a true emergency in there.
yeah.
You know,
Well,
people
not only
work-
that, if
work
it
there.
collapses, not only C2 is going to be closed down, that courthouse is going to be
building.
closed down.
Whole building.
Yeah, there's air conditioning units, condensing units up there.
On that roof.
Well,
Needs to be an extreme priority. I don't know about emergency, but it needs to be an extreme priority. We don't need to be talking about it. What do we do in 3 months? We need to have a plan in place well before then.
And so how you move from here is totally up to you, of course. You can find an exemption for the construction manager, understanding that that's got to be an advisory role. You can deem this to be an emergency because of the danger to the public, employees, and probably imminent loss of essential government services. Or you can just sort of make the entire process high priority, to go through the entire process, but started, ASAP, or sort of your three options.
I don't think not using a CM as the true CM is not an option, because we don't have the staff or the knowledge to do that. So I don't think that's an option. I think it's deeming an emergency or calling it a priority. I'm willing to make a motion on an emergency situation just because I personally fear that there's more imminent danger than not, based on the last 3 weeks' change. As long as the board is in agreement with that, I'd be glad to. Just frog out of my throat and make the motion.
Emergency conditions.
So, Chairman, I make a motion, we move forward with the repairs to the courthouse under an emergency situation due to the imminent threat of loss of essential government services, potential danger to the offices, the staff, and vital records storing in the building.
Second.
And health and safety of the.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. We have any discussion? Commissioner Martin, any discussion?
Hold on a second.
No discussion for me, we're okay.
Okay. All right, you got quiet there
Yeah.
from,
So let's move forward with this, and then you need to make a motion of who you want to move forward with the project, so it's on the minutes too.
Okay.
So he knows he has the job to get started right away.
Yeah.
So let's finish this motion as far as declaring it an emergency.
All right. So, all in favor?
you know,
I made the motion, Chairman.
I second.
He second.
you have a second, and we got discussion. All right, we're going, all in favor, aye on the original motion.
Aye.
Ayes have it. All right. Commissioner Kitchens, you got an amendment to the motion?
No,
Or another
not
motion?
amendment.
I'll make another motion.
Excuse me, I didn't get this correct. Keep me straight.
That we move forward with Warren Associates, building contractors to make these repairs under emergency situation.
Second.
Second, any more discussion? None, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank y'all.
And how is it getting paid for?
It's we're out of SPOS.
We've got SPOS funds, and it was bonded, so we have $1 million there to work.
Under CM, right, get delivery method. Okay.
Let's get it fixed. Thank y'all very much.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank y'all for your patience. Wow. All right, ACCG voting delegates, Ms. Wagner.
The Legislative Leadership Conference is September 29th, in Jekyll. They're asking for a voting delegate, but we don't have anybody that has signed up to go.
And when is that?
When is it?
Have they opened the window yet?
Yes.
Huh.
She's just making sure you're still alive to write that check.
Yeah, I already got the check.
She's just really
Already got
making
the
sure
check.
you're alive.
I still need
All
that
right.
money, so.
You need
So
to
when is it
survive till it
September
goes
when?
through the bank, is that what you're saying?
September 29th. I can send y'all the information on it.
Oh, I thought we'd, I didn't know they'd opened up. I kept getting emails that they were opening up next week, I thought.
September 1.
29th.
So that's another 3-day class, what is it? Or just
Yeah.
classes
It's
then?
at home.
All right, so there's not classes on it.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
classes.
there's classes.
Okay.
I make a motion, I'll go.
We've got a motion on the floor for Commissioner Vaughn to be the delegate.
Oh, she
Second.
motioned, she made a motion for her
Yeah.
own self. That's a pretty good deal. That'd be a first.
That's right.
Any discussion? None, all in favor, aye? Ayes have it. You want to go to Jekyll, don't you?
You can go too.
I was gonna say, can we amend that where Shannon and I have to accompany her? Just to make sure she gets in no trouble.
And I think I need to watch them. So I got you too.
No old business. How about department head? Ladies first. Jennifer, you want to go ahead and, has this man got his check yet, ready yet?
He had to went through his truck.
He has his check,
Ah.
Chairman.
So I would like
What?
to say that we started our pardon yesterday. We've had a great start, and
Oh, you added $1 to it. You dirty rascal, you. Should we get both checks up there and say yours $1 higher than
I
mine?
think we should, Chairman.
Come on. Well,
That way you get credit for it.
That's right, I get credit for beating the chairman one time.
actually, I'm gonna need you to finish filling that
Oh, and then he's gonna hand her cash.
up. I need you to
Give her $2.
Okay, we're done.
This could go on a while.
Yeah, that ain't right.
We added $1 to it.
Get on the other side of it.
Okay.
We gotta both give her a
We
check
added
and $1.
We added $1, so it's going to be there, that way I'm not,
Okay.
you got an extra $1.
Y'all are even.
I know,
Get
she gotta do
Shannon to
something.
about pretty hit like
Jennifer, you were talking about the pardon yesterday.
I would.
Yeah,
but
but-
got all excited about the money.
She's a woman, she's picking up the money. She knows
So-
how to handle money.
So our kickoff was Monday, and we had a pretty decent turnout for some rescues come up here, and we've had 3 adoptions so far this week, and I've done 3 interviews today. Did Channel 13, 2041, and the newspaper, and hopefully that will get the word out there, and we're starting to get some momentum going, and hopefully by the end of this week I will be able to come back and say the shelter is empty. So that's my goal. And but I do appreciate the support that y'all give us, because without y'all we can't do what we do, and without our rescues we really can't do anything. So we are very blessed, and our animals here in Jones County are blessed. So thank you so much.
And we thank y'all.
Absolutely.
Come on, Mr. White. Y'all had to let the lady go first.
Okay, I've got good news. The roof, finally moving forward with the roof. We had a pre-bid meeting last Thursday with Michael Clark's and Associates. We're looking at having all the bids back in and tabulated August the 11th, and hopefully awarded that same time. So
That's great.
moving right along. So been a long process, but we're thankful we're getting in the right direction, though. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Randy,
Thank you.
you got anything for us tonight? Or?
I do not. Thank y'all.
Good. Mr. Mayor, thank you again for opening the meeting for us.
My pleasure, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners. Like I say, Taco Bell had their soft opening yesterday. And like I say, so far, they've been kind to us on social media. And, we all know about that. The silent majority listens to the local minority. But like I say, I already tasted the food. It's good. I know several other people have been there and tasted some positive pictures, and that's good also. The construction down on the bypass, 18, it's, like I say, it's moving along. I don't have any further information right now on that, but at least you see that something's been done. That's the key to anything. So like I say, Gray is great. Thank you.
I got a question. What's going in the old Zaxby's?
I'm not at liberty to discuss that under client privilege.
Okay, but something is coming that way.
I was gonna say, technically, he doesn't have client privilege.
But something is coming, right?
He's just saying privilege.
Yeah.
You might want to hunt him down outside.
Okay.
Wow. Mr. Risner?
I don't have anything.
Nothing.
These two ladies? Citizen comments tonight. Any citizens like to come forward? We thank you for the Ruby Drive residents. And like I said, if you ever need anything else, you know to give us a call, because y'all got Ruby Drive looking great.
62 houses.
How many houses?
62.
And they got
62?
62.
They got 50. They had 48, and they got 50 now, so we got that. All right.
That's what I was
Commissioner
doing.
Martin, you want to start us off tonight on commissioner comment?
I just want to thank everybody for the hard work. Keep up the good work. And for things like this courthouse, I want to make sure that we get all of our emergencies out of the way so we can do it the right way and not have our attorney looking at us cross-eyed.
She was too.
Cross-eyed. Thank you,
You
Commissioner
can
Martin.
see me through the phone clearly.
Evidently, absolutely.
Commissioner Vaughn?
Summer is coming to an end and school will be starting in a few weeks. Actually, the next board meeting will already be in school today. So just remember, be patient. Dirt roads, I know that my dirt roads will be in shape because my public works always takes care of them. Well, I know the grass on the side of the road of that's right, see? But it'll be good to have the kids back in school. I feel like they're safer when they're in school. And at least I know they're all getting fed. And so I enjoy when all my babies get back. They're all mine.
Mm-hmm. No matter how old they get, they're still
mine.
Mm-hmm. All right. Commissioner Wood?
All right. Just want to thank all the employees and for all that they do. And citizens that watch these meetings can see that we have things come before us that snowball, so to speak, and we have to deal with them. But whether it be a drainage on a road or trees down or whatever, we appreciate our employees. We appreciate our citizens too.
Yeah, I'll echo that. Thank you to our staff, employees. The Animal Services had a good kickoff yesterday, and again, we showed why we're the envy of a lot of other counties with our Animal Services and our rescues and our volunteers, because they show up every time for every situation and make it happen. And it has not always been that way, so thank you to our staff that keeps that going and all those volunteers. So
Jones County's definitely been a model to a lot of counties. We've heard it time and time again.
We've come a long way.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you have, because I was one of Dr. Moore's veterinarian assistants that used to have to put all those to sleep when they got brought in by the county. So you have come a long way.
Yes.
Also, I want to go back and say that the pickleball courts are under construction. So, thank y'all.
You gonna challenge Commissioner Kitchens that?
He's in such a losing streak right now. I don't want to hurt him.
All right. Well, if there's no other business, Commissioner Bone, I need some help.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. Thank you, Commissioner Martin. I was worried I wasn't going to get a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank y'all.
Bye, Dale.
No executive session.
Was it- is
I
that a
know,
big-
I don't know what to think of.
She's
Not
got
having-
some flavors for it.